In this twist tutorial, you'll learn how to fold the two-fold hybrid hexagon twist that makes a rectangle directly from the grid without pre-creasing. This tutorial is part of the Summer of Twists series, so if you're unfamiliar with closed and open hexagon twists, I do recommend going back to those tutorials and practicing them first. And that also means that there will be a longer tutorial at the end, linked at the end of this video, that will help you practice this twist in a repeating pattern. So let's dive into the twist itself. I'm using an 8-fold triangle grid on a square, and if you're unfamiliar with this grid, you can learn how to fold it in the Summer of Twists welcome video. And I'm going to start by noting where the center of my grid is, and then I'm actually going to orient the edge parallel direction horizontal. I'm going to start drawing some folds around the center. I'm going to show where the pleats are coming in, and then we'll solve that arrangement of pleats for how to squash the twist. So in my first direction, I'm going to take that mountain fold and run it off to the right, one spacing above the center point. Then in my next direction, I'm going to run that mountain straight in to the center. Turning to my next direction, I'm going to again go one spacing away from the center. And then since this is a two-fold rotationally symmetric twist, whatever I do on one side, I do the same way on the opposite side. So as I rotate to that next direction, I can check the opposite side and see that was one grid spacing away. I will duplicate that. The next grid direction came straight to the center, so I will duplicate that. The next grid direction came one spacing away, so I will duplicate that. Now my valley folds are going to be one spacing above each of these mountains as it extends out to the right. So I'm going to go ahead and mark those, and I'm drawing the valleys in until they hit the next direction of mountains. Or actually, that one should have stopped right there if I was drawing the mountain appropriately far out. So now that we have this pattern of pleats, it's time to start setting up the pleats. And as I set up, so I grabbed the direction going into the center, I'm pinching the mountain and laying it down over the valley. And I'm making sure not to run this pleat too far in. Like, I don't want to fold all the way like this. I'm making sure my paper has the flexibility to still have these folds elevated. Then I'll work my way around clockwise, adding new folds as I go. And so this one will add in, and I'll get this little notch situation, and that's what I'm aiming for. And then the next one will add on, and I'll get these points of the puffy star that you see in the open hexagon twist. The next one I'll add in is the closed type again, and here again we'll see that little notch. And next we'll add in this pleat, and finally our last pleat. So we have 4 points of the open hexagon star, and then the other 2 points are tucked under. So that's what's going on with this arrangement of pleats. And then we can smooth out a bit these ends of the rectangle before we take a bone folder or our fingers and let those tucked in tips smooth out. So we're smoothing on the inside here. Smoothing, so we're going into the corner on the inside, making sure it's not crumpling, and making sure that fold is coming out to a grid intersection. With all of that in place, we can go ahead and press firmly, first with our fingers and then with a bone folder or other tool, to squash the rest of the twist. So everything we see in here has been flattened, but it was useful in setting up what was going on. And then as we open out to look at the crease pattern, we can see these little bits were flattened out also, as well as the extensions of these mountains. Now we do have some new folds, and these extensions of mountains stayed as mountains. Our new folds are completing the rectangle with the mountains and completing that open hexagon outline with the valleys. So if we take these valleys along with these new mountains, it completes the same folds we would see in an open hexagon twist. Now there's a little bit more going on, which is these new mountain folds on grid lines, on like Y-ing off from those mountains coming directly into the center. So we've got this kind of funky, rectangle-y, hexagon-y thing going on that's exactly the same on opposite sides. Now we've looked at the crease pattern from the front side, from the side that you fold it on. Let's take a look at the crease pattern on the back. On this side, all the mountains have been swapped for valleys, and the valleys have been swapped for mountains. So we're going to have valleys outlining this central rectangle, and then mountains completing the rest of our hexagon shape. I'm going ahead and drawing in some of these mountains coming out. And then we have more valleys for the pleats, and also these little valleys on grid lines that are coming out and helping us to get these points tucked in. Last but not least, we have a little bit more mountain coming into the pockets of these three-way intersections of valleys. So this is how you'll see this twist in a crease pattern when it's on the opposite side of the paper. And so we always want to fold this twist from the side where the central rectangle is mountain folds. And the important things to pay attention to is which of the pleat directions are coming in exactly to the center, the mountain coming exactly to the center, and which directions have their mountains coming one space further out. So that's how you fold the two-fold rectangle hybrid hexagon twist. And if you'd like to practice that twist in a longer tutorial, you can do so in this video. And if you'd like to learn more about the twist, it's included in advanced twist techniques, my advanced twist course, and also I use many of these twists in crease patterns included in Tessellation Garden. And there's, of course, crease patterns for that advanced, for the longer tutorial, and a challenge pattern in the Summer of Twists ebook. And those links are all in the description. So happy folding, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.